Hello people of YouTube, this is John, back again with another gameplay episode of Railway Empire, and I'm going to play Chapter 2 of Campaign Mode and finish as President. So you'll see how to do that. And the reason I'm doing this is because I've seen people who play this game online go through the chapters and then wonder why they didn't make it to the top level. And if you watch them play, you'll understand why, because they have very poor strategy. But I'm going to show you how to do it. So let's get started. All right, so in this game, you start off on the East Coast in Baltimore, and your guy is Philip Evan Thomas. He's going to lead you through this stuff. And one of the first things we're going to have to do is connect Washington. And by the way, I have all the voices turned off for this. So just for your information, because you have NPC characters who play in this game, and it just gets annoying. So anyway, we're going to connect Baltimore and Washington first. And I'm going to connect the track here to track 2 at Baltimore. You'll see why later. If you follow the same track connections and such that I'm going to show you here today, you'll end up doing better in this chapter. Going to put a supply tower about halfway through here and set up my first train between here, and here. Okay. There they go. So I'm going to start making money right away. I'm going to buy this cattle industry. I'm going to buy this wheat farm. And then one of the first things I'm going to do is connect these two industries to Baltimore. That way I can start making money right away. And so I'll hook up my cattle industry first. And I'll put my track here for the wheat farm. And both of these, and let me just get this bridge made here. I've got to make a bridge across here. It's one of the things I don't like about this map is there's this bridge practically automatic. That's one of the first things you have to build coming out of Baltimore, and it's very expensive. But I'm going to try to make this as straight of a line as possible in places. You'll see why in a minute. And trying not to build trying not to have to build any bridges. That's the other thing. Okay. And I'm making this a straight line to about here. Like I said, you'll see why in a minute. But let's connect this farm like so. And get the train started. I do the same here. And I'm purposely going to route this just south of the milk farm there. And going to parallel track here just up to where the bridge is, and then give it a little, there we go. Okay. If you want to know about why I'm placing signals in certain places like this one, I'll explain it here in the beginning, but then just remember this for later on, so I'm not going to explain everything every time. I'm putting this signal here so that the trains that come from this cattle farm will go all the way to the signal before entering Baltimore. So here we go. Set up the train to here. All right. Now I have kind of a little supply chain going there. And believe it or not, my next connection is not going to be to New York. You would think you want to go to New York, right? Because it's a bigger town and so forth. But no, it's not going to be to New York because they don't have anything that I need here. I mean, they have cut wood in the form of lumber, right? But that's not one of my primary needs right now. One of my primary needs right now is for, oops, let me show you, is for beer, actually. Because I can ship the meat that I make by using my cattle industry to send to Baltimore, turning into meat. I can ship that to Albany where they make beer, and then they will ship beer back. And the reason I chose that is because I also own the wheat farm. So I'm going to make a whole lot of money from sending wheat to Albany, turning it into beer, and sending it back to Baltimore. And similarly, I'll make a whole bunch of money by turning cattle into meat and shipping it to Albany. So Albany is my next connection. And I think I'm going to set this guy up in this orientation, right in the middle here. And this pisses off this Don Lorenzo guy, but I don't care. The NPCs in this game are so annoying. I especially don't like that Don whatever Lorenzo guy with his fake New York accent. It's so annoying. Anyway, that's why I have it turned off, right? Mentioned that. And I'm going to send this line through, basically there's this valley here that you can send the line through. If you do it right, you don't have to build any tunnels. And I'm just trying to find that sort of that sweet spot. It's right around here somewhere. Here we go. You might have to build a bridge or two at times, but the important thing is to connect it as cheaply as possible, because in the beginning, obviously, you don't have a lot of money. So here we go. Right down this valley. I don't know if this is an actual valley in upstate New York or wherever this is. But I do know that if you can connect Albany to Baltimore, you can make a lot of money. So that's my key goal here. And as I like to do, I'm going to, if I can get the right spot here, I'm going to double track this. Yeah, I'm going to double track this. I'm going to try to double track along here. Yeah, there we go. And the reason I double track as much as I do, parallel tracking like this, is because I want the construction to be cheaper. And it is when you do parallel tracks like this, especially when you have to build bridges. So if you look in the upper right corner, you'll see that it's still an expensive line, $198,000. But if you look down at the very bottom of that top corner there, that little box, it tells you that you're saving almost $60,000 with parallel tracks. That's why I do this. And I'm connecting Albany with a separate track because I don't want my freight operation between my wheat farm and New York to make that line too congested. So now my Albany to New York is done. Train going there right away. And now I'm going to set up a second track that splits off right here in Albany and double track that down to my wheat farm. I might have to wait to build this one because it's going to be pretty expensive. No, maybe not. I might be able to get away with this. Yeah, here we go. And start supplying Albany with wheat right away. Okay. Now, this is my basic setup here. And let me put my signals in real quick. This is how you set the game up in the beginning. Something else, another reason why I set parallel tracks is because it also cuts down the cost when you're building supply towers. Because a supply tower that bridges two tracks will actually serve both tracks and it doesn't cost any more. Anyway, gonna put a signal here so that train's returning. We'll stop right there. And I'm gonna put a signal. Yeah, there we go. Because you notice there's a train waiting here for track clearance. That's because this one here is returning to pick up more wheat. After this train is loaded, you'll notice that our train going to Albany will in fact leave. And by the way, this steep grade here that goes up to the wheat farm is no big deal because there's never going to be a loaded train returning to the wheat farm. Trains going to rural stations don't carry anything unless they have something for a town that's in the route after the wheat farm. But the way I have this scenario set up, I don't do that at all. But here comes our other train. Watch. There it is. This one's going to Albany. So, but you see what I'm doing? So I'm supplying Albany with wheat to make beer, and I'm supplying Baltimore with cattle to make meat. And then I have the route between Baltimore and Albany set up as a separate line so that these tracks don't get too congested. That ensures the free flow of, there it is, lots of meat and lots of beer. And when it gets busy enough, I'm going to add passing sidings to both of these tracks to conduct more wheat, right, to Albany, and more trade between Albany and Baltimore. Our next connection will depend on when our little host for this particular scenario comes back saying what we have to do next. Now, what I mean by that is I want to connect Baltimore and New York, but I just don't have enough money. Of course, I could issue bonds to do it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to issue a bunch of bonds here so that I can connect these two. And as always, I try to keep the lines as straight as I can because it cuts down on cost. And you'll notice that I'm taking this on kind of a circuitous route here. And there's a reason for this, which I'll show you in a minute. I'm going around my cattle farm. And I'm going to use my trick of double tracking here. Now, unfortunately, I can't double track my bridge because I already have one double tracked bridge here. So I'm going to separate the line up here and build a separate bridge. But I still have all these tracks, which I'm going to place one of these guys on. See, this is why I do the multiple track lines like this, because I only want to build one supply tower. It only costs $30,000 regardless of how many bays it has open. So that's a huge money-saving tip right there. And we're going to set up a line between Baltimore and New York. And because I'm going to eventually have a need to ship clothing, I'm going to prioritize clothing from Baltimore to New York like this. And according to this task list, I have to connect 3 rural businesses to my rail network. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to go down here. First, I'm going to see if I can buy this. I don't think I have enough money to buy this, but yeah, I don't have enough money. But this is how I'm going to connect my 3rd rural business. And I'm doing this because I know that I'm going to have to do this anyway later. I'm going to put a station in Pittsburgh. I'm going to put a station here at this cotton farm. And I will connect these two like so. So the reason I did that is because I wanted to get to the next part of my task list. And what's going to end up happening eventually is Pittsburgh is going to be supplying cloth to Baltimore. There we go. And when it does that, I want to be there already so that someone else doesn't jump on it. And in order to connect Pittsburgh to Baltimore, the best way to do it is up through, this is one of the things I learned playing this game. If you can find the valleys in the landscape like this, you don't have to build a lot of tunnels and bridges and stuff. So you can take this in through here, like this. You could also go to the south, but I'm just, this is convenient, so I'll just do it here. And connect to Baltimore at the furthest to the left track, also known as track 4. And if you look down in the bottom left, the guy is telling us that we're going to have to look at Baltimore real quick. You can see the pillar of light there as well, telling you that's what you're supposed to do. I'm just going to go through these things real quick and get rid of them so that the pillars of light disappear. And what he's trying to tell us here is what I mentioned a minute ago about the fact that Baltimore has a tailor business that makes clothing. See the dresses there at the bottom of the list, just above the grayed out wood. And this is going to establish the next task list that includes sending the clothing to New York, which is what I mentioned a minute ago. So you see in the task list, deliver 10 loads of cotton to Pittsburgh and deliver 20 loads of clothing to New York. Well, these stations I just set up down here will ensure that I can send the cotton to Pittsburgh. And the line I just set up between Pittsburgh and Baltimore will ensure that Baltimore is supplied with fabric so that they can actually make the clothing that they need to send to New York. So let's see what this says here. Yeah, see, there's a weaving factory. That's what they're trying to show us here. Anyway, Baltimore needs cloth for the clothing industry. You should start building a line from here. Well, I just did that. What I need to do is start building a train to carry that stuff. There we go. So this is your basic network that you need to finish this first level of tasks here. You have the fabric going to Baltimore, and you have the clothing being set up to go to New York. And as soon as you're done with this task list, there's going to be another one that shows up below it. So you can kind of sit back and watch for a while here. If you can afford to buy this cotton farm, it's worth doing. Kind of like how I bought the cattle farm and the wheat farm in the very beginning. Anyway, he's telling you down here in the bottom left that if you transport the clothing from Baltimore to New York, oops, and these things, on this particular campaign, I do not purchase a lot of these auctioned upgrades just because I know I'm going to be cash poor, especially having to issue those bonds early on. So I just will let this run for a while, and at some point I'll go in here and I'll add a second track to my cattle farm. The cattle farm line, I'll add a second track to it here, and a train, and the same goes for this wheat farm. Oh, so he's telling me I can hire train crews now, which is fine. I probably will. Let me just go down to this train. This is one of my more important trains. in case you missed it, I have a game review that explains all this stuff, but I'll tell you here too. If you assign crew to your trains, if you look down in the bottom left, it tells you what bonuses you get. So if I take this engineer, I'll get plus 5% on the speed. Same with this one. Anyway, so I'll assign the engineer, or hire the engineer and assign him. This stoker has a great track record for reliability, but if you look over to the right, there's a red arrow, which means he's in conflict with that engineer, so I'm going to leave him alone. Oh, interesting. I wonder why this guy doesn't really do anything. The conductor doesn't have any bonuses, so I'm not even going to hire him. But I will go to my other train and see if I can hire... Yeah, I'll take him for there. This stoker gives the train a 20% boost in reliability, and there's no conflict with the engineer, so I'll hire him. And now you see that this conductor has a conflict with the engineer on this train, so I'm not going to hire him. I'll find another train to hire the conductor for. Maybe this one. Let's see. I think I already checked this, didn't I? Yeah. There's no bonus, so it's not worth it. There's another train I can try. Let's see what he does for this train. Yeah, no bonuses. I'm not sure why there's no bonus here. But I'm just going to leave this guy alone because our little friend down in the bottom left there is talking about buying stocks. And he wants me to go over here. Well, he will in a minute. He'll want me to go over to the stock market and buy some shares of another company, which I will do. It's just a matter of time. Okay. So I'm kind of set up here for a while. One thing that I do want is I want to upgrade this before too long, just because it's going to provide a lot of income to my company. But one of the things I look at when I'm deciding whether or not to upgrade an industry like this is I want to know what their current workload is. In this case, they have a 100% workload. And if you look down below there, the rail car to wagon ratio is not that good. They're getting more business from rail cars, which is good, but there's still a lot of stuff being shipped by wagon, which is not good. That means that I could be shipping more with my rail cars and supplying cities better. So I'm going to probably add some sidings to this track here that's shipping the wheat to Albany. But I just want to make sure I have more money before I start doing that. Okay. Anyway, you should buy stocks via the company dialog window now. That's down at the bottom left. So why don't I go here and I'll just buy some cheap stock from this loser. How about just enough so that I have 300,000 still? There we go. All right. So that'll satisfy that little instruction from our friend in the bottom left. Now he's telling you that you can hire people off of this page to sabotage your competitors. And the way you would use this is to sabotage the person that you want to buy the stock from. And after he sabotages them, the stock price goes down, you buy a bunch of stock. So anyway, he says you don't have to do that, but you can if you want to. Anyway, I noticed that we have some of these. Yeah, now he's warning us about that Don Lorenzo guy. But anyway, I noticed that I have some innovation points to spend. So I'm going to see what I want to spend them on. In this particular campaign, I'm not too concerned about passenger revenue. So I think I'm going to stick to these freight-related upgrades. This one will increase the profits from mail. That's not that important, but I have to buy some of these to unlock other ones anyway. Number of passengers. How about this? Transportation per freight car. This is good. That makes me more profitable. So anything that's related to making the locomotives more powerful or more reliable and helping freight revenue is what I'm really focused on in this campaign. So something else you'll notice, if you look at your flow of goods, you'll see things like this. This corn farm is supplying 3 different cities. So it would make sense to connect that corn farm to at least Albany and Syracuse before too long. And also, if you look at the wheat farm, this is what I was talking about earlier. It's actually supplying 2 towns. That's another reason why I set the line up the way I did. The cattle farm is only supplying Baltimore, which is fine. But if you keep your eye on these little flow of goods maps, it can help you decide where to connect things. I think the most important next connection I can make would be this corn farm with Syracuse and Albany. You know, this is also another pretty good one here. If I can connect this logging camp to New York. Okay, so I've zoomed back into Collins Estate. That's my wheat farm. And I've noticed that the current workload is at 100%. So I can actually become more profitable by upgrading this business so that it produces more goods. So I'm going to go ahead and do that since I have the money for it. It's expensive to do this, but ultimately it's worth it. They'll produce more wheat now. So my trains and my competitors' trains are going to produce more money for me by shipping more of this wheat. I've found in this campaign that if you maximize your cattle farm and your wheat farm, as well as the lines that go between these industries and your towns that they're supplying, you can make a lot of money. So money does not become that much of an issue in this campaign if you do it right. So let's see who's available to hire here. Professor. Oh, I can make money, but I have to give up innovation points. No thanks. Market crier increases passenger volume. No big deal. Do you know what I will do, though, soon? Because I have a lot of trains going to and from Baltimore. Pretty soon I'm going to build one of these maintenance building. These are expensive to build, but they're worth it because they help the reliability of your trains. And because I have so many trains that terminate in Baltimore or stop in Baltimore, it makes sense to have the maintenance shop there. It'll service more trains than if I put it somewhere else. So I have my supply tower servicing a lot of the same trains, and then I have the maintenance facility there. I'm going to need another supply tower along this route somewhere before too long, and I will put one there. I'm also going to add some passing sidings along this route someplace. My next main concern is going to be upgrading this. I'm not only going to upgrade it, as in make it more productive, but I'm also going to double track the line and add a passing siding. And this is another one of these sort of hints that I'm going to give you here. When you create a double track or a siding, you put it on the other side. So in other words, I'm going to split this track somewhere along here and put it off to this side. Now, let me just do that while I'm thinking about it. I'm going to split this track here and put it to the right so it doesn't interfere with my main line. See how the main line is over here to the left? It won't interfere with that one because I put it to the right of the branch that's serving the meat industry, the cattle farm. And I'll just connect it up here. Like, hello. I'll just connect it up here. Close to where they meet here. And the reason I did that was I want to be able to put as many signals between here and here as possible. So I'm going to set this up so that these trains go that way. And on the other end, which I'll get to in a minute here, what I'm doing here is setting up blocks so that several trains can occupy these tracks. I'm getting a little ahead of myself here. I don't really need this many yet, but eventually I will. So I'm just setting it up now. I think I have space. No, I think I'm just going to leave it there for now. Okay, and then if I set this signal here and tell these trains that it can only go that way, there. Now I've effectively double tracked in a way that I can send 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plus trains. It's actually, I think, 10 or 11 in between my cattle farm and Baltimore. So since I have that set up, go ahead and add another train between here and here. Now, eventually, when I upgrade my cattle farm, which will be the next thing I do, that costs $300,000, so it's going to be a minute before I can do that. Unless, of course, let me just see if I have... Yeah, I can't issue any more bonds right now, so I just have to wait. I decided, since I'm increasing my capacity to produce meat, I'm going to double track some of these other main lines that go between cities in certain parts. So sending to Albany, I just have to look for a place where it's straight, basically, to make the best passing track. So I think I will do that up here, like so. And see, the thing is, I don't want to waste the money taking this track all the way to Albany yet. I still need to save some money to expand my cattle industry. So I'll just do a passing siding here. And this is how you do a passing siding. You tell the tracks that are, or excuse me, you tell the trains that are approaching from this direction that they have to take this track. And you tell the trains that are approaching from this direction that they have to take the other track. And again, I'm bridging this supply tower so that I get the benefit of it. And then I'm also going to double track my New York main line. That's the one that goes to New York in the same place here, just for now. I can always add to these double tracks later. And I'm going to give this one enough space as well to also take advantage of the supply tower. There we go. Okay. So, got a couple tracks set up now. I just have to clone the trains that use these tracks. I don't like having my only passing siding all the way at one end like this, because that means that this track between here and Albany, it's still only one way. So in a minute, I'll probably add another passing track toward the end here. Okay, I've cloned that train, and now I'm going to clone this train as well. There. Now I've just doubled the number of trains going between Baltimore and New York, and I've doubled the amount of trains going between Baltimore and Albany. And I will also double the trains going between Pittsburgh and Baltimore. And while I'm at it, I think I'm going to build one of those supply towers along this line someplace. This looks like as good a place as any. And then, of course, in order to finish building the passing track or passing siding, as it were, gotta put my signals in, right? And it looks like I have enough space here to put blocks here. So this will effectively allow me to add, I think, 2 or 3 trains, or 4, between Baltimore and Pittsburgh. So I'm just add 2. Okay. I did notice that I have enough innovation points, though, to, let's see. Yeah, here we go. Increase the power of my locomotives. This is a good one to have. Okay. So, once again, now I sit back and wait. I'm going to wait for more stuff to happen, because I need to save up some money anyway. All right. Got enough money for this now. There. Now this is going to be creating more livestock to ship to here to make more meat to ship everywhere else. Time to wait again. Oh, goody. It looks like my little friend there at the bottom just gave me a loan. It's really a grant of $2 million. I love when that happens. So, and if you can make that happen, it's a good thing to do. So I'm going to do what I was talking about before, and I'm going to connect up this corn farm to Albany and Syracuse, because Syracuse is offering, look, it's offering a connection bonus right now. So that connection bonus is going to practically pay for all the track and stations that I'm having to build in order to do this. Check this out. I'm going to make my main line between the 2 towns. And again, you got to watch how you build this stuff. There's a bunch, see how it gets hilly here? So it's turning into a bunch of bridge work. But if you go just a little bit to the south, all that bridge stuff disappears. So I'm going to take this line and sneak it around here like so. And I've been wanting to do this. I'm going to do it now. I'm going to expand Albany so that I can add this track. Hold on one second. Because this track on the Albany station was added to the outside, I can connect my new main line straight to it. And I will use my, if I can make it work, I'm going to use my double track trick in order to, like this, actually, I'm not going to do that. You'll notice that I decided not to use my double track trick. And the reason why is because I know that I'm going to want to double track this other track that comes up from New York. That's this one on the left. So I'm just going to do it this way for now. And I'm going to connect here like so. But I'm not connecting it to the main line. I'm going to double track that to here, where I will then connect it. And I'm going to connect it from here to here, where I will double track it all the way to here. This way I can put more trains on it. And the signal is going to be for this main line to only go this direction. And on this end, the signal is going to be to only go in this direction. And the signal on this end, I forgot to do that, I'm going to have a block here. I'm going to have a block here. And this is a little bit tricky. So the train that comes up from the corn farm over here has to get onto this track, because this track goes in the direction toward Syracuse. So I build a crossover here, and then this signal right here tells the train, hey, don't enter this track. You see how that works? So he will cross over automatically here. And when he gets to the town, he'll come back and return on this track, which I'm going to also put one of these signals. The same thing goes for trains returning to the corn farm. They're going to be on this track because this is the direction that the track travels. So I need a crossover here to tell them it's okay to go across. And then my signals need to put one here. I'll put one here. I'll put one here. Okay, this way trains in this direction will wait here, and trains in this direction will wait here. And this should do it. I just need to put my blocks now. And I'm going to tell the trains headed this way not to enter this track. See how I set that up? So a train coming from the corn farm will stay on this track all the way to town. And I need another supply tower. Ah, there we go. That should do. And now since I got this huge infusion of cash from my little buddy, I can set up my trains here to go from here to here, and from here to here, and from here to here, and I can also double track this line right here. That's my New York and Albany line, all the way to down here where I started getting this set up earlier. And then of course I'll have to build some blocks too, which I will do. I'm also going to double track this line all the way to here. And again, it's all about creating signals after that so that these trains know where they can go. Don't really need this here anymore. But I could use some directional signals on this other line, like so. There we go. And because I have my direction set up, putting up my block signals like this will be easy. They're already set to the right direction because that track is already set to the right direction. See how that works? And once again, this is so that I can put a whole bunch of trains on these tracks without creating a traffic jam. So I'm going to go ahead and get all this set up, and I'll be back with some other talking when I have something important to tell you about strategy. Okay, so you can see I've had a whole bunch of stuff added to my task list. I need to deliver 20 loads of clothing to New York, most of which are already done because I already knew what was going to happen, so I set that route up early. I have to connect Baltimore and Toledo, reach a population of 100,000 in Baltimore, buy 20 shares of stock, and achieve a company value of 20,000. Well, I'm halfway to most of this stuff already. So most importantly, I'm going to connect Baltimore and Toledo next, which is out here. Okay, I've decided it's time to set up the station from the milk farm here to Baltimore in order to help it grow. I think what I'll do is utilize this last track that I have right there. Okay, well, yeah, I have enough. Well, let me just check something real quick here. Oh, I could even issue more bonds if I want to. But you see, these 2 bonds, they're not due for another 34 weeks. So I might as well just I'm just going to do this. I'm going to set one up here. Like so. I'm going to set one up here. Like that. This might be better. Set up kind of a main line like this. That goes over and then curves. Aha, this is good. And then I will connect up here using my parallel track trick. And it should work. What? Yeah, there we go. And then I'm going to let it separate here because I have to make a separate track for this bridge anyway. And run it to my final station platform. And just going to get rid of the bridge there. Let's see if I can limit the amount of bridge here. There we go. Wait a minute. Yeah, it's still more expensive than I have the funds for, but this is good. Okay, so as soon as I have $206,000, which is right now, I will build this track. Then I will attach this track to it. This is not how I really wanted to do this, but it'll work. I'll attach this track here with a parallel. Wrap it around to here with more parallel and connect it here. I will add a signal here so that the trains on this track know that they can go to there without stopping. And as goofy as it looks, I can now supply Baltimore with milk and with these vegetables. And as soon as it kicks in, you can see that the fulfillment of the demand is at 56%. That's going to go way up as soon as those trains kick in. And since I have the money for it, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to add a museum which increases the satisfaction rating of these citizens by 10%. So check this out. This is another great trick. If you ever have a town that you need to grow and it's kind of stagnant, and if it has enough population, you can build a museum that will also help the town grow. So, something I would like to do though is add some capacity to these lines here. So I think I'll do that real quick. Now we can add a couple trains. Or a few, whatever. All right. So you can probably get the idea here of what I'm doing. I'm as the game rolls forward, I'm adding capacity, right, to the amount of trains I can send on the tracks. That's how you beat this game in the campaigns. You just supply the towns with as much as you can. And I need to build a similar double track on this other line that's supplying it with milk. But I'm going to add a double track from here to here. I just want to take it up to where the curve is here. There we go. And I will tell these trains, hey, don't enter here. And I'll tell these trains, hey, don't enter here. I'll get rid of this one. Don't really need this anymore. And add a couple blocks here. Oh, there's a block. Look at this supply tower. It's supplying, what is that, 8, 9 tracks? I mean, that's a lot of tracks. I only had to pay for this thing once. It's really great. It's a great trick. I mean, look at this. Let me count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's supplying 9. And then think about how many trains this maintenance shop in Baltimore is supplying. It's supplying everything that's coming out of Washington, which I think is only 1. It's supplying everything that's coming from Pittsburgh, which is I think 4 or 5 now. And then every other train that's coming to and from all these industries here, plus what's coming from Albany. So it's really supplying a lot of trains, because Baltimore is basically my main hub in this campaign. Anyway, let's look at this now. I'm going to add a couple trains to the milk farm and this vegetable farm, but let's just look at this and see what the supply and demand is now. Fulfillment of demand is at 70%. It only has to be over 60 in order for this town to continue to grow. So if I add a couple more trains to the here, whoops, and to this other line, where is it? I'm looking to add a train to the route that's supplying it with vegetables. If I clone this train, yeah, a couple times. There we go. So, got a couple more milk trains. Gonna have a couple more of these vegetable trains. I think that Baltimore probably will grow enough. Now, why is this guy stopping at this block? Oh, he's not. He's climbing a grade. Okay. Anyway, what I was going to say now is that Baltimore, with all the supply and demand here, supplying that I'm doing, the fulfillment of the demand, bringing as much milk, cattle, vegetables, and wheat to it as I am, with that capacity, oh, and fabric from Pittsburgh, with that capacity being filled, chances are this will go all the way to 100,000, which is in our task list here. Reach a population of 100,000 in Baltimore. So it looks to me like we're on our way. We're going to do some more fast forward here. And if you can kind of make it out, you'll see that I'm adding some stuff here and there during the fast forward session. But keep an eye on this. Mostly I'm probably going to just add capacity to my routes so that I can send more trains to and from these places. Okay, so here's what I want to do in order to make Baltimore grow faster. You can see I have about $800,000. By the time I'm done talking, I'll have about $800,000. I want to buy this meat industry because the computer, which is basically the owner of the meat industry, see how it doesn't have an owner? It's just a blanked out face, I guess. The computer won't upgrade the meat industry for whatever reason. It's being supplied with enough cattle, but it's not upgrading. So I want to buy that meat industry and I want to upgrade it. That will help the town grow faster because you're basically supplying more commerce, right, through the train routes that you have set up. So in order to do that, the first, I don't want to just buy it right now because, well, actually I probably could, but my point that I'm trying to get to is they're asking for $326,000, which is fine. That's actually a really, really good price at this point in the game to be able to buy an industry in a town like this. But what'll happen is as soon as I place a bid to buy it, then these other jerk NPCs will just jack up the price big time. So what I'm going to do first is consolidate my debt by going here and paying some of these off. Watch what happens when I pay these off. I'll repay it, no problem. I'll repay this one, no problem. But look, I can issue a new bond now. But I'm issuing bonds at a much higher rate now. So if I issue this bond and then use that to pay off this one, I'll be, right around 300,000 again. But watch this. Because my company value is higher, in a minute here, I'll be able to issue another bond for probably close to $1 million, maybe more. And the idea is that the next time I'm able to issue another bond, I'll issue that bond and then I'll start bidding on this meat industry in this town so that I can make it grow even faster. That will allow me to reach a population of 100,000 in Baltimore sooner. And it will also increase my company value. So basically I'm going to be working on two of my objectives by doing this. So I'll check one more time. Yeah, see, I can issue the bond now. So here we go. It's for almost $1 million. Now I almost certainly have enough to purchase this. So we'll see if these other jerks bid up on it. I hope they don't. Oh, what do you know? I got lucky. But now I own this industry, so watch what happens. I will expand it as much as I can afford to. There we go. Now it's going to be producing way more, and it's going to cause my company value. Yeah, see, they're already excited now. The stock market's excited. It's going to cause my company value. Look, it's over 10 million now. And if I just let this run, you'll see it'll be probably 12, 13, 14 million by the time it catches up with the improvements I just made. Oh, look at that. That was a huge jump. Wow. But anyway, so that's how you grow your company value it's mostly by owning businesses. You can just run a whole huge amount of trains and that'll also do it. But owning businesses, I have found, is the best way to increase your company value. So I'll let it run here for a minute. Yeah, I'll let it run here for a minute and fast forward. Okay, I've just noticed that the train between Baltimore and New York is carrying nothing but lumber. And I want to add some capacity to this line because New York to Baltimore is kind of underserved right now. And look at this. Baltimore must have reached 90,000. Yeah, population of 90,000. So I'm getting close to finishing the chapter here, but I'm going to add capacity between New York and Baltimore, and that will help me grow Baltimore even more and even faster. So let me just use my innovation points real quick. Accelerates train maintenance, that's good. And yeah, gonna have to wait for a minute before I buy any more of those. Timetables, passengers, don't care about passengers, dismiss that. Okay, so I'm going to add some capacity to this line by adding some track here. Look, see how that's a nice long stretch of straight? And here's another nice long stretch of straight. And here's another nice long stretch of straight track right here. Using my parallel track trick here. And it looks like I can bring this parallel track. Let's just end it here. This will allow me, my goodness, I'm going to be able to add probably 10 or 15 trains if I want to. I'm going to add my signals. First thing I always like to do is make the signals indicate, let me see, we're over here, which direction each track operates in. That way when I set my blocks up, the signals come in the right direction. See how they're already facing the right direction when I go to add them? And in case I wasn't clear before, I'm trying to place the signals about one fully loaded train length apart. So you can just line the trains up on these tracks. If you put them too far apart, then you minimize the whole reason for double tracking is so that you can get a lot more trains through. And that's what I'm trying to do here. I don't know that I'm going to have to use this. I'm not going to have to fill it up, honestly, because by the time this scenario ends, which is going to be pretty soon. Yeah, there we go. And we're going to clone this train. I think I'll just add 3 or 4. That should be enough. And yeah, here we go. Oh, look, I can add another business. How about that? What should I build here? Well, let's see what's around. I could build a sawmill and then supply it from this lumber camp. Or I could build dairy farms. There we go. I want dairy farms because I'm already supplying the town with milk, right? So I just have to raise $500,000. Don't think I can issue any more bonds right now. Yeah. So I'm just going to have to wait till I have $500,000 and hope the computer doesn't open a business sooner than I do. Okay. So I can build my, let me find it, my dairy farm. And that will supply at least this town with the cheese that they want. There it is. And it's also going to increase my company's net worth. Yeah, which is kind of hovering around 12 million right now or so. Yeah, it'll increase that. And the other thing is, because it's a new industry, it doesn't cost a lot to, it doesn't cost a lot to expand it. Just 500,000. So I'll have that shortly. And as you can see, the fulfillment on demand is still well over 60%, and it'll be at 100,000 very soon. So the only 2 objectives I'll have left are to build the company value over 20 million and to buy 20% of the shares in one of the competitors. So we're getting there. Okay, well, I was going to set up a warehouse, but I've changed my mind. I don't really need a warehouse out here. And I'll show you why. I can set up a track arrangement that leads to Toledo and supplies it with most of what they need there without having to build a warehouse. Warehouses can be very helpful at times, but right now it would be kind of a waste because you'd have to build an expensive warehouse as well as stations from the rural industries to supply it. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to expand Toledo to 4 tracks, right? And I'm going to check. Looks like they need cattle. I guess I skipped over this one. They need wheat as well. Lumber. And cane. And fruit. I can supply all that stuff very easily. And this will give you a sense of my OCD. How I do this. You're probably going to be laughing when you see how I do this, but here we go. So I'm going to put a track here. I'll go ahead and put a track here. Well, a station, but you know what I mean, right? I'm going to put one here. Like this. And I'll put one here. Like that. And finally, put one here. Like so. So I just built stations at all 5 of these industries that Toledo wants to be supplied from. Well, guess how I'm going to do the tracks. Because this is going to be over before I need to do anything more with this, I'm just going to double track this, or parallel track it, I suppose you could say, to here. No problem. Now I'm going to take my parallel track from the ranch here. And I'm going to parallel this too. To lead into here. Oh, can't afford it yet. That's okay. I'll be able to afford it in a second here. And check this out. Yeah, I know. This is going to fulfill one of the other... Yeah, 69,000. See down at the bottom there, connect 10 rural businesses. It's going to fulfill one of these extra credit accomplishments, I guess. Okay. Build that line. And while I'm at it, I think I will build one of these here to serve all of these lines, right? There we go. And take the fruit to there. And take the cattle to there. Now it's just a matter of waiting, right? And if I could have afforded it, I would have bought some of these industries out here before doing this, because I would have made a boatload of money. All right. I think I'll get my track ready for this one. You see what I'm doing? Only thing is I don't want the track to be this. Well, actually, it probably doesn't matter, but I'm gonna straighten the track out just a little bit in preparation for putting my other supply tower on this side to serve all the tracks that are coming in from these other industries here. And yeah, I like straight track a lot. This is where I was talking about making my OCD apparent here. All right. Can't build it yet because I don't have enough money, but I'll hang in there. I've actually decided to bid on this one because it increases my transportation fee for freight. There we go. Looks like I won. That stupid woman at the bottom left there is going to have to deal with it. Great. Okay, so as soon as I have enough money, I'm going to build this other track for the cane farm. Oh my goodness, look how fast that went up. Wow. All right. Get my locomotive going there. Get this track ready. And I actually messed up a little bit here. I should have placed one of these tracks over, or maybe even I should have run the track from this industry to this side. See how I have one left open there? That way I could run a track from Toledo to Indianapolis, but the game's not going to last that long. This map is almost over. So it won't matter. If I were going to play this, you know, to the end, or however you want to call that, I would have done it that way. But it really doesn't matter. And as soon as I have 30,000, something else you'll notice is that I have never upgraded my locomotives. I've been running these little Grasshopper locomotives for all of my trains the whole time, and it didn't really matter. But I don't know if you'll see this, but this town is going to be so supplied, it's going to grow really fast, Toledo. And the other cool thing about this is that its industries now have more stuff to transport out to Pittsburgh. So all the trains that I'm running between Toledo and Pittsburgh are going to have not just passengers, but they're going to have freight on them as well. And since I've concentrated on being a freight railroad in this particular campaign, there we go. Actually, I think I'll set this one up down here like so. Okay, I guess I'm too close on this one. I need to move this. Need to move this track over. Here we go. And to here. As soon as I have 86,000, I'll build that one. But do you see what I'm doing? By building a big station, I gave myself plenty of tracks to bring freight in on. And they're dedicated tracks. So I can run a lot of trains without having to worry that they're going to get held up by other trains coming in. And by the way, I should mention, the reason why I'm using those Grasshopper locomotives is because most of the terrain on this map is fairly flat, so you don't really need the more powerful locomotives. But anyway, now that I got this line set up, I'll put my supply tower here to supply all three. And then in the future, if I want to expand my capacity, I can just set up a passing track here or a passing track here. See all these nice long straight stretches, or here. I can set one up here, I could set one up here. So this type of design, even though it's a little spindly looking, see how it's almost like a spider or something? Even though it's like that, it's very efficient. So anyway, it shouldn't be too long before we're hitting all of our categories here. I saw an opportunity for growth here in Washington. It recently grew because it had been declining before, and now there's space for a new industry. And I thought, well, what industry could I build here that would be profitable? And it turns out, if you look at the flow of goods, it's already needing cane, and you can make alcohol with cane. So if I can make alcohol, it would be a great way to supply Baltimore, which needs alcohol. See down here in the list, there it is, just above the cheese there. It needs alcohol. So if I build, which I'm going to do right now, a distillery here in Washington. All right. It's going to immediately start shipping alcohol, probably on this first train, I would think. Let's see what it does. But it'll start providing alcohol to Baltimore. And it should become pretty profitable pretty quickly. Let's see, cheese. Yeah, maybe no. Maybe not this time. But soon it'll start providing alcohol. Yeah. It'll start providing alcohol up here to Baltimore because they are demanding it. It just takes it a minute to register that it's there. Let me just see if the supply line is set up yet. Yeah, not yet. But anyway, I'm going to connect it with this cane farm, which I think if I wait long enough, it might be worth buying. The thing is, it costs so much. Yeah, I think I'll wait to buy it. But in the meantime, I will connect it to Washington so that my there we go. So that my company value will grow even more. Because I just opened up that distillery in Washington. All right. Yeah, see, well, the price is going down though. If I wait long enough, I might be able to buy them. And the reason I'm concerned with this is because I'm looking at my company value and it's just hovering around 14 million and I have to get it to 20 million, right? So if I were to buy this cane farm, oh, look how far down it went. Jeez. If I were to buy the cane farm and also own the distillery here in Washington, I can expand both of those businesses and it will make my value shoot way up. So it's just a matter of waiting until I have the money for it, I guess. The problem here is that it's going to continue to go up and down. And I don't know that I'll get it back down to 500,000 again. So, but that's another thing I should mention as a tip. If you watch the price of these kind of industries, they fluctuate all over the place. And it's quite possible that you can snatch it up when it's low, like 500,000. Of course, if you do that, though, you still need to have a ton of money in the bank because one of these other competitors will come in and say, no, I want that. And if they buy it, you're screwed. So anyway, I don't have the money for it right this minute anyway. So I'll just wait. And I have enough money to connect these two. The thing is, I'm trying not to connect this because I want to be able to buy it for a bargain. If I connect it, it's immediately going to start supplying the business that I put here. And, you know, that'll make it go up in price, up in value, and then it'll be even harder to buy it. So, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to do it. There's no reason. I mean, I'm not going to be playing this map that long anyway. Not much more longer anyway. So let's just connect these and get the supply chain started. Oops. Okay. That'll get that supply chain started. Watch, it's going to be totally full. And watch the value of the farm. It's going to go way up. It'll easily be over $1 million now that they're transporting stuff by train. Because, you know, train makes it faster, right? To get their products to the town. I hope it doesn't go up because I'd like to be able to buy this farm for a cheap price. Increase the value of my company by tons. The one benefit to not buying the farm is that if the computer owns it, it will upgrade automatically. You don't have to spend all that money to upgrade. Remember how I was upgrading the cattle farm and the wheat farm up here earlier? It's very expensive to upgrade. So it's very much worth it, but it's very expensive too. Yeah, see, these are not necessary right now. I'm surprised this one still hasn't gone way up. But you can see that I'm gaining value. So, like I've been saying, we're almost there. These last couple of accomplishments take a while, just because even though there's only 2 left, they're things that take time. I've decided to upgrade my distillery, and I think I'm just going to pass on this because it's going to be out of reach. And like I said, if I try to bid, even if I had, what is it, 1.1 million right now, even if I bid on that, one of these other NPCs most likely will come in and outbid me, and then they'll own it. And I don't want that. I'd rather let the computer own it, because the computer will automatically, like I said before, upgrade it. Now, one of my competitors might decide to upgrade it too, but you know, you can't count on your competitors upgrading businesses that will benefit you. Boy, look at this. It's going way down. It is so tempting to try for it, you know? I think if I were going to play this map a lot longer, I'd probably try to get this. Look at that. It's going all the way. I can't believe this. How far down it's going. Look, below 500,000. You know what? I'm just going to try it. I'm going to try it. I'll probably regret it, but let's try it. Just watch. If a competitor does not try to swoop in, oh my goodness, it's... Oh, how lucky. That is so lucky. Oh my God. Okay. Hey. Soon I will upgrade it. And it's not going to take long before the company value skyrockets, because I have all the pieces in place now. All right. Okay. Well, that was lucky. I might as well increase my capacity on the rail line here. Wilmington. Oh, nice. A fruit farm. That's always a good investment. Fruit farms usually cost a lot. That's going to also increase my company value, because look, this is a profitable business. It's not excellent, but it's good. $1,000. I mean, it's all right. But whatever. Again, it's not going to matter. This map is just about done. I probably shouldn't have wasted the money on it. I probably should have saved my money to increase my capacity on this rail line and to upgrade this farm. All right. So let's see now. My distillery. What I need to do is tell this train to... Oops, wrong one. Put a priority on the alcohol, man. There we go. And while I'm at it, I think I'm going to increase my rail capacity between these 2 towns. Like so. Oh, I did not mean to connect these 2 tracks. That was a stupid mistake. That's all right. I will correct that now. Oops. Well, I'll correct that in a minute. What I really want is for this track 2 to line up with this track 2. Which I'll set up here in a minute. Okay. I like to make these lines as clean as possible, especially when you have a limited amount of space between towns like this. And I'm going to add a track here, double track it all the way to our connection here, like so. Add my signals, like so. add another track on this other line here that goes to track 2. And I will mention something here that is pretty important. Let me just connect it here. Oh shoot. Looks like my other track is too close. I can't double track this the whole way. Okay. That's okay. Like I keep saying, this scenario is going to be over soon anyway, so. But I do want to mention, it's important when you make a parallel track like this, oops, to, hold on, to tell it, there we go, okay. To tell the train that you set up between these places, like so, to use only track 2. That way, it won't try to use track 1. And if you don't do it this way, you'll get too much traffic on one track or the other, because the trains always try to go to the nearest track that they can in order to get to where they're going. In other words, they use the shortest route possible. And if track 1 is the shortest route to Baltimore, which it is, this train that I just set up would have tried to immediately start off on track 1. So I can actually clone this train, and it will now set up another one, which is what I wanted. Going to track 2, I can clone this train, and it will set up 2 more trains going on track 1 as soon as there's space for it. And because I told this route here to prioritize, let me find it, to prioritize alcohol, every train that leaves this station, if there's alcohol available, will send the alcohol up to Baltimore. So anyway, I have enough money to expand my alcohol business. Expand, done, all right. And, oh, look, I've achieved a company value of $20 million. All I have to do now is buy shares in one of my competitors. So, got a couple options here. You know, I'm inclined to wait. Hold on, let me do this. I'm inclined to wait until I have enough money and just buy out this guy outright. I need $3.5 million to do it. What I'm thinking is if I do that, I will have completed all of the categories here and almost certainly will ensure that I win the game as president, because I would have completed all the objectives in a much shorter time than what they give you. So I think I'll do that. I'm going to set up a little extra trackage here so that I can maximize my sugar plantation and maximize my distillery to its highest level I can make it here, which I think is level 3. That's going to give me a lot of money. So I'm going to double track this line and probably make this station bigger so that I can have a lot of tracks going here. And that should give me enough money to where I can buy out this Don Lorenzo guy. So one step at a time though. First I'm going to double track this. Looks like I can borrow about $2 million bucks. I'm going to do it. And then I'm going to pay these off to consolidate my debt. And I'm going to borrow again. That will allow me to fully upgrade. I'm going to also upgrade my distillery. That'll make the money that I raise much faster. It'll make it grow much faster. And I can work on over here. I can add some trains to this area to increase my money as well. Trying to see what they need still. See, the trains that are going to the town aren't full, which means that the computer hasn't upgraded this yet. If I add a double track here, though, or a passing track, if as it were, that will increase the flow, and it'll probably cause the computer to upgrade the industry, which is what I want, because the more logs, in this case, that I transport to the city, the more money I make. So here we go. All right, you know, it's getting to the point where I think I just want to end this game, end the map, and show you, you know, finish out as president so you can see. So I think what I'm going to focus on now is just starting to buy up this Don, what's his face's, here he is, Don Lorenzo. I think I'm just going to start buying up stock in his company. Still looks like it'll take $3.5 million to buy him out completely. And I think it'll take too long to raise that, because I can't issue any more bonds right now. So let me just do this. See if I can maybe upgrade a couple things before I'm done here. And start buying them out. Here we go. Probably won't take long. Just need to buy another 15, let me see, 5% more, and it'll end the map. So, and at the rate I'm earning money with the map the way it's filled out right now, it'll happen pretty fast. So I might as well just talk to you while I'm finishing up here. And yeah, so the main parts of this map, I guess, what's this? I might as well try for it. The main parts of this map really are the area around Baltimore and right here, this whole area right in here between Baltimore and New York. Making sure that you can connect Pittsburgh, and knowing this trick about going through the valleys so you don't have a lot of steep inclines. And then increasing the value of your company, at least as far as I can tell. And because you have to connect Toledo anyway, as one of those accomplishments, this is also an important area. And I think I've shown you all the stuff you need to know in order for you to also be able to finish this at president level. So let's give this another shot. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, this will do it. Here you go. You ready? The chapter was a success. And there's all that money flying around the train there. And let's just see if my prediction was right. Did we finish as president? Let's find out. There it is. Look at our sight glass. All the way up to president. It just has to do with paying attention to what your towns need and supplying it to them. That's really all there is to it. Now, I did only fulfill 10 out of the 11 tasks, so I didn't get any extra credit for buying out an entire company, But as you can see, you don't need to. And I mean, I could have waited until I had the money, but how long do you want this video to be, right? I mean, geez, it's already longer than chapter 1. So the next campaign number 3, is a little bit harder, and I'm going to have to do some strategizing to make sure I can finish that at president level. I have not done that yet. So as soon as I figure out how to do it, I will be back with another chapter or another video of gameplay to show you how to do it. And that one is a bit more of a challenge, and you'll see why in that video. So until then, I'll see you later. If you find my content interesting, helpful, or anything else, please consider subscribing. I'm trying really hard to get to 1,000 subscribers. So every single subscriber is greatly appreciated. I will talk to you next time. Make it a great day.